Hey guys, it's Luke again with Motor Minds, and today we're in a 2017 Toyota RAV4 Limited. Now this thing is one trim below the fully loaded RAV4, which is the Platinum, but you still get some pretty great features, and it's still a really nice car. I'm very, very impressed with it so far. I've been driving it for about 20 minutes now, and I really do enjoy it. So the crossover market, like the small crossover market, is one of the most competitive markets in the car segment today. It's ridiculously competitive. Every company seems to have some kind of crossover, and if you're going to compete in this market, you really got to bring your A game. You need to bring the best of the best in order to compete because there's so many viable options. And because of that, Toyota has recently facelifted their competitor, which is the RAV4. So basically, the new RAV4, it's a very nice crossover, and it gets great fuel economy, is very practical, and it's a very smart choice for anyone that's in the market for a crossover. So, coming up next are a few reasons why. So let's start with the styling. So, I think it was last year, the RAV4 was facelifted. So what they did was they gave it a more aggressive front end, and they didn't do too much to the sides, and they also changed the taillights in the back, making them look a whole lot more aggressive. They kind of changed the coloring of them. It has this cool streak effect, which I really, really like. I think it makes it look really sharp. And the front end, it's a bit more channeled towards the center. The Toyota badge is a bit more pronounced than it was in the old car, and the grille has been diminished. There's not as much of a grille as there was, and the headlights are a bit more angular, and they're a bit narrower, which gives it a sportier profile. And I think the whole design looks really good and really purposeful. It makes the car look a bit sportier and a bit meaner than the previous RAV4. So let's move on to the drivetrain. So this car is powered by your typical Toyota 2.5 liter inline four-cylinder engine, and it puts out 176 horsepower and 172 pound-feet of torque. And you may be thinking, that's really not a lot of power, and you'd be right. It's not a lot of power for such a big crossover, even though it's not that heavy. It's the same engine effectively that's in the Camry. And it actually does a really good job at pulling this car around. I was pretty impressed. I thought it was going to feel underpowered, and it doesn't. It has plenty of power. It's not fast, but it's completely adequate. I never find myself itching for more power. It's completely adequate, and it'll do anyone that drives this car justice. It's not going to be a problem. And thank God they made it to Toyota's traditional 6-speed automatic. They make some of the best automatic transmissions in the business. They are silky smooth. And with the hybrid, you get a CVT. But this isn't the hybrid, thank God, because the CVTs, while they're good transmissions, they just don't provide that driver engagement that you get with a traditional automatic. It's really nice to not have that CVT drone when you're driving the car. Like right now, I can be cruising at 40 miles an hour and I'll be in 6th gear, no drone at all, nice and quiet, and there's no unpronounced noises from the drivetrain itself. The engine can be a little bit whiny once you get into the higher RPM range, but it's not very noticeable, and since this car has a fair amount of low-end pull, you don't really need to rev the engine that high to get where you want to go. So overall, I really like the powertrain, and it goes through Toyota's four-wheel drive system. Now that is key. To compete in this market, you need to offer some kind of four-wheel drive. Of course, you can get this car in front-wheel drive, but the four-wheel drive is just really nice, and it still returns pretty good fuel economy. You get 24 mpg combined with four-wheel drive, which I think is really nice. And the reason they're able to do that is because it's not a full-time four-wheel drive system, it's part-time four-wheel drive. So basically what that means is I'm driving around now, perfectly dry roads, no impeding weather conditions, so I'm in a front-wheel drive car right now. But if the four-wheel drive system senses that I need four-wheel drive, if there's some wheel slippage or I'm losing traction, or any situation where the computer feels like four-wheel drive is necessary, it'll automatically kick into four-wheel drive. So what that does is it gives you the security of four-wheel drive, but it also means you get fuel efficiency of a front-wheel drive car when you're just tootling around town or on the highway or whatnot. So I really like that. Let's move on to the interior of this car. So the interior, it's very nice, but it's really cool in the way that they combined a utilitarian style with a more upscale flair. I really like that. So you have this dashboard. It's more utilitarian than some competitors. You have big circular air vents. You have this really nice storage cubby above the glove box that's open and exposed for you to put your cell phone or notes or what have you. And the center console, it has tons of storage. You have cup holders galore. You have a holder for your phone. You have pockets here and there. It's a very, very versatile interior, but I really like how they really made it a little snazzy. You have this really nice soft touch material running along the center of the dash with this white contrast stitching in it. The top of the dashboard itself isn't soft touch, but quite frankly, I don't think that's going to bother anyone just because it's set so far away, you're not going to be having any contact with it. And the steering wheel itself, this limited model has a leather wrapped steering wheel, and it feels really good in your hands. It's a really nice, high quality steering wheel. A lot of leather wrapped steering wheels, like the one in my Focus, for instance, it's not actual leather. It's like this plasticky material, and it doesn't feel all that high quality, whereas in this car, you can tell it's real leather. So that's another thing I want to mention. These seats, they're super comfortable. They are so unbelievably supportive. I have tons of lumbar support. I actually have adequate thigh support. I'm 6'2", like I mentioned in my other video, and because of that, it's really hard for me to get comfortable in a lot of cars. But I have tons of thigh support, tons of lumbar support, and they're really comfy. Now, these seats, they aren't leather seats. They're a material that Toyota markets as Softex, and basically what it is, it's effectively pleather. But quite frankly, it has a very nice feel to it, and it's going to hold up a lot better than a traditional leather seat would. So I think it's a good call on Toyota to implement that. And now in the back seat, there's plenty of room, and the seats actually have a lot of recline. You can recline pretty far back in those seats, which I really like. It's going to be comfortable for a long road trip. So let's talk about some of the features of the interior. So to start, you have Toyota's Safety Sense technology, which has blind spot monitoring, lane departure assist, forward collision warning, active cruise control, radar guided cruise control. I mean, it has all that good stuff to keep you safe and to make sure that you don't get in a crash. So let's just get that out of the way. This is a very safe car. It has the standard equipment that you've come to expect in a car in this market and in this price range. So let's talk about some of the interior features, such as the nav system. So this car has Entune audio, which has your nav system here. You have your standard audio stuff, 7 speakers. It's good. The speakers won't blow you away. If you want to have blow away sound quality, you're probably going to want to go for the 10-speaker JBL system, which is really, really nice. Our old minivan, 2012 Sienna, had JBL, and that thing rocked. So if I were you, I would probably up the ante and get that system. But the nav system itself, it's easy to use. I'm not able to check out the specific route guidance just because the SD card's not in. But the system, it has huge graphics. I love Toyota for giving the systems huge graphics. So many systems have these teeny tiny little buttons that you have to like fool around with, and it's a huge pain. This system doesn't have that. Huge graphics, easy to figure out what you want to do. There's physical buttons on the side of the screen that control functions on the screen, and the whole thing is very quick to respond. And you can download other apps to suit your driving needs. Like right here, I have weather, I have traffic alert, I have audio phone, classic stuff like that. And below, you have your standard climate control, automatic climate control, heated seats. I have a sport mode and an eco mode in this car. The sport mode doesn't really do that much. It weights up the steering a bit, which I'll talk about later. And I have this really nice faux wood trim. I have 2-stage memory seats. And it's just a really nice interior. You have tons of functionality and tons of features. And another thing I absolutely love, an awesome styling cue. I think every car company needs to do this. Frameless mirrors, baby. They are very nice. It makes it just seem so much higher quality than any other car out there in terms of the mirror. It's just really, really nice. And I think all car companies need to start doing that. So let's talk about the driving experience. So I love how I have to say that when I'm stuck at a red light, but you catch my drift. So this is a RAV4, and to start, you sit up high. You have a commanding view over the road, and it's so easy to see everything. Visibility is great, so it makes you feel like you're towering above other motorists as you're going along the road, which is really nice. It gives you a big commanding feel and a good view out. But that also comes at a price because handling, it's a RAV4, so you're not expecting anything super special, but it's not ideal. It's electric power steering, not very communicative, but it's very easy to operate, and it's going to work very well for 99.9% of the people that buy this car. And it also has sport mode, like I mentioned earlier, which basically gives the steering a false weight to it. You can tell it's not real connection, but it weights up, so that way when you are going through some back roads, you have a little bit more confidence in what the steering's doing. And it's just a good system overall. It's not a sporty system, but it's a RAV4. You don't want it to be sporty. You want it to be nice and easy to use and something practical. And the steering system gets that done. Now, in terms of ride comfort and interior noise levels, I was very surprised. I thought, oh, this is a big SUV. It's going to have a lot of wind noise, possibly some road noise, but it's very hushed in here. There's a very little bit of wind noise at around 50 miles an hour, but it's not noticeable at all, and there's like no road noise whatsoever. But the ride is what gets me on this car. It's really smooth. I was very impressed. It rides like a sedan would ride. It rides a lot like the Camry. And a lot of times SUVs, especially four-wheel drive SUVs, they can ride a bit stiffer than their regular counterparts, such as a sedan or whatnot. But this car doesn't suffer from that. There's not a lot of body roll, which surprised me. And the whole ride, it's very tied down, very plush, and it's very comfortable. You're going to have no worries with that. It's going to be a comfortable cruiser. And the other thing I love about this car, which everyone's probably questioning about, is the practicality. So the trunk is massive. There's a huge opening. The whole liftgate opens up. It's not a side opening liftgate like the old RAV4 was. You can fit tons of stuff back there. The rear seats fold down flat, and there is tons of room. So no worries there. So let's talk about a little bit of how the RAV4 makes me feel behind the wheel. What's its personality like? So it's a lot like the Camry. Think of this car effectively as an SUV version of the Camry. It's very quiet, very easy to drive, reliable, practical, solid transportation. That is what defines this car. If you're in the market for a car that you know will get you from A to B every day, and it'll definitely work, and will provide flawless transportation comfortably, efficiently, and practically, this is what you want. And that's the whole appeal of this car. It's not for people that are looking for a enthusiastic driving experience, not people that are going to go around corners at like 100 miles an hour and chuck the car around. This is for people that are looking for something practical and nice and easy to live with. And this RAV4, it's a really good alternative to the Camry because you get good fuel efficiency, you get the features and the comfort, but you also have a huge hatch that'll open up. You have the four-wheel drive system, you have added ground clearance. So overall, I think this car is a very appealing package, and if you are in the market for a mid-size crossover SUV, you should definitely check out the Toyota RAV4. Before I go, I want to say a huge shout out to Orsman Chantilly Toyota for lending us this car. I'd especially like to thank the GM, David Timoner, for lending us this car today. Really appreciate it. They are some great people over there. They're going to definitely help you out with your car purchase. We actually bought a car from them 4 years ago, and I must say it was a flawless experience, and we still love it. So definitely check them out. You can get this car there today. It's still on sale. Has 17 miles on the odometer, brand new. It's a good buy, and I hope you go check it out. Thanks again for watching Motor Minds, and I hope to see you guys checking out our next episode.